You called out Kamaru Usman, and the UFC granted that fight. Here you are fighting him in the main event of this card. That always doesn't always pan out, right? Like there's always a lot of call outs. Only a certain percentage of them, actually come to fruition. So how happy are you that you envisioned this and it's coming together?
Yes, sir, man. I'm talking about 2024 was a massive year for me, especially with getting all the fights that I've been asking for, right? Getting the opportunities, especially with, Vicente Luque, with Wonder Boy, and, even with, the Kamaru Usman, me shouting his name out, and now they blessing us now with this fight. So with this opportunity, man, that I'm getting, I just think this is a perfect, moment for myself, man, just to really show up and show out. But, really, the reason why these call outs, have been successful is because of the fans, right? Every time I call out these fighters, the fans, they want to see it. So the UFC actually been listening to the fans, man, and making sure that these fights happen.
Did you feel at one point that maybe this fight wasn't going to happen because Kamaru's not super active, right? So did you feel like, were you confident that this fight would come together? That he would accept the fight and accept the fight?
I mean, that's hard to say about any fight, right? My thing about Kamaru Usman, it's been a minute since he's even stepped into the octagon. It's been like 2 years since his last fight with Hamzat. But was I nervous about, or was I even, wondering whether he was going to step out or not? That ain't my concern. My concern is really kind of just working towards getting towards that goal. But I knew Kamaru Usman was a perfect name to call out at the time.
Yeah. And what do you make of him right now, like where he stands in his career? Obviously, like former champion, he did so much for the sport, right? But he hasn't fought in a while. His last fight was at 185. So like, how do you view his career? Like, where do you think he's at?
I mean, to be honest with you, I don't think there's no difference from the Kamaru of old and the Kamaru of now. I think it's the same fighter, which I believe is still dangerous, and a person that could still give a lot of guys a lot of problems at the welterweight division. You realize, losing to a person like Leon, who obviously, right, took his belt and who obviously was a champion at the moment, and then also Usman being able to go on 10 days notice and fight Hamzat, right? That, you got to respect that. And even with him taking those L's, I really feel like, it wasn't much of a loss for him as it was just a setback, right? But with that being said, he's been able to fine-tune his technique, as he says, and been able to work on whatever injuries that he got. So I'm just expecting the best version of himself when he step out there.
Yeah, you're a big favorite entering this card. I don't know if you
What am I?
A big favorite. You're like a -2 something?
Damn, okay.
265?
Yeah, I thought we was going to get some free money in this one.
Yeah. Are you surprised that you're such a big favorite? I mean, obviously your run at 170 has been amazing, right? But, as you mentioned, that guy's a former champion. He did look good against Hamzat, a weight class above, short notice.
I think he did a great job. It really just showed that, in my personal opinion, Hamzat ain't really what, we think. But regardless of that, though, I feel like with me and Usman, I'm going to show them, there's going to be a night-day difference with Hamzat's performance over Kamaru Usman and then my performance that I'm going to have.
And what do you think a win here would do for your career? Because some people might look at this as a title eliminator, right? But we do have, or we're expecting Islam Makhachev to go up in weight class and challenge JDM. So what does a win do, and where do you think it'll put you in the division?
So in my personal opinion, right, this win is going to catapult me to be in the position of that #1 contender spot. But obviously this is a business, right? Islam has done a lot in the lightweight division. He has a massive name. And, it only makes sense for the UFC to give him that opportunity to fight for the belt. But with all that being said, I'm going to let my performance speak for itself, because a lot of things happen within this fight business that, yet again, we cannot predict. So with that being said, if that such thing does happen, Buck gonna be ready for his opportunity when they come call.
Who do you think wins that one, by the way, if they do make it?
Say it again, bro.
Between JDM and Islam, who do you think wins that fight if they do book?
Islam.
Yeah. Is that a fight that interests you as well? Do you feel like maybe down the line you two could fight? Obviously, if he becomes champion and you're a top contender.
Me and Islam?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. Well, I would love it, but I don't think Islam would. I truly believe if Islam is able to win that 170 title, he gonna move he done everything that he needed to do. What, he gonna stick around and potentially, lose that winning streak? I don't think so. I think he really just trying to cement his name. This really kind of just a legacy pass. And then once he wins that welterweight belt, my man gonna retire at the end of the day. That's my opinion.
Thank you and good luck on Saturday.
Hey, Joaquin. Saw on your podcast, by the way, terrific.
Appreciate it.
It's an A+ name. And this is touch a little bit on what you just spoke about, but you mentioned that you think that you can put yourself certainly in that spot, that number one contender area. Have you had any conversations with the UFC about that, or maybe being a backup fighter for a possible JDM versus Islam fight?
No deep conversations, but let my performance speak for itself, and I think that's who they would want as a backup, a person like me.
And if that ends up not being, if they do go with Islam, are you willing to take another fight after you get this victory on Saturday, or do you want to just hold out, see how things play out for a while before?
That ain't how this business works. At the end of the day, I'm trying to get paid though too. So yeah, we're gonna be looking to go after that belt. But if it ain't available, we look at a name.
Fair enough. And if that does come to pass, are there a lot of contenders coming up? Are there any of them that have jumped out as somebody, Ian Machado, Gary, Sean Brady, Shavkat, any of those that you would want?
Whichever one with the numbers spike the most, that's the one I want.
Thank you very much.
Hello, sir. How are you doing? You said that you think that Islam will probably retire after JDM fight, but if he's not, and if he will win and he will decide to stay at 170, that could be not so good situation for all these fighters in welterweight. I mean, the fight will probably be in Abu Dhabi in October. Then he will have some rest, then will be Ramadan, and he doesn't fight in Ramadan. So the next title fight of Islam Makhachev at 170 could be in May. So are you planning to stay active, or you will wait for him?
Well, I wouldn't have a choice, right? In that fashion. But I believe I'm one more away, especially right after the Kamaru Usman fight, period. Because at the end of the day, when it comes to the rankings, Usman is only ranked number 5. But don't get it twisted, bro. Islam ain't no big threat to the welterweight division. This is the deepest weight class that you can get into right now. Not only just from myself, but from guys like Ian Gary, from Shavkat, from Sean Brady. Like Islam definitely gonna have to, prove to the world that he's ready for this division, period.
Thank you.
I got one. Is that cool? Yeah. Just when you were talking about the division as a whole, you said it's probably the deepest division in MMA. Like, do you believe that you're currently in the best division in MMA? And when it comes to the pound for pound rankings, do you think that should give the welterweight division, to be able to be higher than some of these guys?
I believe, yes, this is the deepest the weight class has ever been, especially with all the names I just listed, right? And, you still got guys that's undefeated, right, in this weight class and getting finishes. So if you're able to remain a champion in the welterweight division, because you obviously seen with Leon end up, losing his belt to Bilal. Bilal couldn't hold it down for his first title defense, right? And then you already got, a person like JDM, who is a talented fighter, but I truly believe that, he still has a lot of holes in his game where he eventually gonna get got. So with that being said, I think that if you're able to maintain that welterweight belt, like, bro, you that one, you that guy. And I want to be able to prove that to the world, once I win that title, that every person that I fight, stylistically, bro, I'm the worst matchup for him.
And then I don't know if anybody's talked about it yet, but yesterday at the Faceoff, what was that energy like? Because it seemed like you were talking some trash to Kamaru, and then at the end you kind of had a moment where you're like, man, this is Kamaru Usman in front of me, and it kind of hyped you up. So what was going on throughout that?
Well, I'm a big fan myself, right? Because where I came from and how I worked to get to this point, right? It's just a big reminder, man, that God can bless you, right? And put you in a position where you couldn't even imagine. And for me to be, somebody that was watching, Kamaru Usman, right, come to St. Louis, right? And kind of beat be the 30%, Kamaru Usman in St. Louis, but still be able to put on a show. And me being able to watch that and being like now in a position where I'm like, okay, I'm right in front of this man now. I get to fight this man. I get to prove not only to myself, but to the world, man, that I'm one of the best. And, I feel like just giving that real authentic energy of what I'm saying in my mind, but out to the public, I think it's, just a surreal thing.
And then last one, I know Paddy Pimblett's kind of faced criticism this way where he says like, hey man, no matter who I beat, they're going to keep moving the goalposts further away. Do you think people are kind of going to be like that with you? If you beat Kamaru Usman, they'll be like, oh, Usman's a little bit older. Or when you beat Wonder Boy, Wonder Boy's a little bit older. Like, do you kind of get that energy from people as well where they're like, they're going to keep moving the goalposts on me no matter what I do?
They will, but at the end of the day, I'm still going to have that name on my resume. I'm still going to be able to say that I beat a former champion and a Hall of Famer in Kamaru Usman. So regardless of people say, oh, he too old or he was washed, which he not whatsoever, I still got that name on my resume. So that's all that matters.
Joaquin, Julian Virgin, WABE News. Could you speak more to yesterday's face-off? Did you see anything in Kamaru that stood out to you, or it was just a regular face-off?
No, it wasn't. It's never a regular face-off, definitely when you speak about me. But I always love to see the type of energy that fighters give other people and to see if they will give to me. And with Kamaru Usman, I feel like a lot of fights that, he had and a lot of opponents that, he would go back and forth with, whether that's Masvidal, whether that's Leon, whether that's Kobe Covington himself, he was quiet with me, right? And I seen, not about his body language, but just his demeanor, him taking in a deep breath before he seen me. Like, little details like that mean a lot to me, right? Because he know the person that he's finna deal with in front of him is about to give him that action. And, I just can't wait because I'm already knowing with that type of energy, even though you might be nervous or you might be, I wouldn't even say frightened, right? But worried about what's in front of you, you're going to be locked in. And those are the fighters to watch out for at the end of the day.
A few weeks ago, you joked that Kamaru doesn't have any knees. Again, I'm just curious, how much does that factor into your game plan as you step into the octagon with him?
Oh, with him not having no knees, just good footwork. Moving around Kamaru Usman. At the end of the day, there's a lot of fighters within my division that don't know how to move and they kind of stand right in front of each other. That's why I believe my style and me being dynamic is very unique, right? Because there's nobody that fights like me, So I see the guys that Kamaru Usman, he's training with, don't know, none of those guys move like me whatsoever. So he's not going to be prepared for what he sees when he step out into the octagon.
And again, a couple of weeks ago, you did also speak about being able to headline a card here in Atlanta, Georgia, and the impact that you could possibly have on young black men. Could you speak more to that?
I appreciate that. I truly believe that, having this fight out in Atlanta is a major deal, right? With me being able to pretty much represent, a culture of people, especially out here in Atlanta, and me being able to give back by actually coming out to Atlanta and being able to be out in Cheney's Stadium, right? Being out at the public park, going to Stonecrest Mall, and being out at Lion Cage MMA in Privy. I think it's just a great opportunity to really show people that, I'm the guy that the UFC can see that is trying, right, to reach out to us and to really kind of put on for the sport. There's not a lot of a major black audience that watch our sport, right? And it's not because they wouldn't love it. It's because we don't have a lot of representation within our sport that really go back out into the community and really kind of put on. And I think I'm one of the first fighters to do that, and I'm really getting that love back right here in Atlanta.
What's been the theme of your fight camp?
The theme of this fight camp has been war, because I'm already knowing the type of fight that this is going to take in order for me to be in a position where I want to be. And I understand that it's not going to be easy, right? Obviously, you see the shirt that I got on, Take the Throne, right? Like, when you take the throne, that's going to be a battle, right? There's going to be a front line that you're going to have to set and not waver and not, back up. And I know that within this fight, I can't back up against Kamaru Usman. I have to move forward, and I got to put that pressure on him. And, we got to go for the kill.
Final question, and thank you for your time.
Yeah.
You're going to step into the cage by yourself, but you are out here with your team. Could you speak about the group of people that helps you get to this point?
Thank you. With me having a team like this, in the beginning of my career, I didn't have it, right? I mean, I'm talking about from the first fight that I had with Kevin Holland. When I say I literally was out there by myself, I was, right? And now being in a position where I'm having these main events, right? I'm fighting the best people in the world. You can't do this on your own. You need a massive team, So, my team consists of some of the best guys around, and they never been heard of. And I believe with me being on a platform like the UFC, right, I don't just get to shed the light on me, but I get to shed the light on other people, right, that's helping me get to the places that I need to be. So with my coach, with Edric Dillard, with Reggie Thomas, with Travis Brown, with Jeff Henry, and working with my manager, with Todd and Shagun, and one of my best assistants back there, Rocky. It's just like it takes a team in order to be the best in the world, because I've always talked about this, right? The solid foundation. Right now we building up something great, but if I didn't have a solid foundation, everything will come crumbling down, So I got the best bricks around me that's going to put me in a position, man, to be the best in the world.